Today we're going to be talking about the recent heist at the Louvre, what was stolen, how it was stolen, and the abysmally bad security features that almost guaranteed that this could have been pulled off. Let's start by simply going through what happened, and then we'll go through each thing in point. On the morning of October 19th this year, a group of 4 masked individuals arrived outside the Louvre with effectively a motorized ladder. They used the motorized ladder to get on a second-floor balcony, where they then broke the window and got inside the building. 9 pieces were stolen, 8 pieces were actually left the building, as one of the pieces was dropped during the heist. The entire operation lasted under 10 minutes, somewhere between 4 and 8 minutes to be specific, and they escaped on motorized scooters. Okay, so let's start with the most obvious side of things, that ladders exist. This may come as a shock to the defensive side of security in the European theater, but ladders exist, European tilt windows are easy to bypass, and window glass can be broken even if it's reinforced. One of the mantras that I'm going to say over and over again is the question, did you test it? Fundamentally, security has 3 pillars. The compliance side of things, which is, do you have the tools you need to be secure?
Okay, so what do you need? Besides a miracle.
Guns. Lots of guns.
The defensive side of things, how are those tools being used? And the offensive side of things, which is, did you do a reality check for the defense?
Not so fast, Richie. Okay.
So, you might have the best toys, you might have the best defense, you might check all the compliance boxes, but that means nothing if your security guard is complacent, or they don't know how to use it, or you don't have a standard operating procedure when something goes wrong, or you've never asked an offensive security person to come in and look at your situation and think, hey, maybe I can see a vulnerability that the defensive side have never thought of before. When you think of high security facilities, oftentimes you think military, right? Well, sure, government offices might be secure, but they're not going to have, 18-year-olds running around with automatic weapons and a standing army on station, right? With, Hellfire missiles and everything else. So let's return to the RAF base in England that was breached by the Palestinian Action Group, right? RAF base, military location, you've got armed guards, automatic weapons, you've got a standing army on station, right? Awesome, good for you. What did it take to break in? Was it James Bond level stuff?
This is a class 4 grenade. 3 clicks, arms the 4-second fuse, another 3 disarms it.
No. It was 2 people who hopped a fence, had a little motorized scooters, scooted down the tarmac in the middle of the night with spray paint, hammers, and the like, destroyed or damaged a whole bunch of jets, and then scooted off. In both instances, in the Louvre and in the RAF base, what was the, infiltration, exfiltration method? Well, scooters, right? You hop a fence or you climb up a ladder and you use your little automatic scooters to scoot. Well, okay, you would never expect this to actually work in reality. You would never expect, wow, these idiots can accomplish stealing millions and millions and millions of dollars of jewelry or damaging millions and millions of dollars worth of hardware, because you would expect, well, they have all the compliance tools. They have all the stuff there, right? From a compliance standpoint, they check all the boxes. But these people, I almost guarantee you, have never actually tested these things. And so the mantra of this is going to simply be, have you tested it? All right, a museum at its core is nothing more than a location that has really expensive merchandise, and so we need to secure it as such. We need to delay the bad guys from getting access to the store and to the merchandise as long as possible, ideally at least as long as the armed security or armed police will actually arrive to stop them. The problem here was that, according to reports, this entire heist lasted less than 10 minutes, which means that, depending on how this is reported, that means that it took them approximately 4 minutes or 8 minutes to put the ladder up to the side of the building, run up to the ladder, break the glass, get inside, use axle grinders to grab the gear, and run, and get out. So, in under 10 minutes, that means that these people scouted the building, they already did what they needed to do, they already had somebody who told them the exact route, and how they were going to go about it. this is ideally how you would infiltrate a building and accomplish whatever you need to accomplish. And when it comes to merchandise shops, speed is key. We're not trying to, bug a corporate boardroom or exfiltrate files from a server. No, we just need to smash something and get out as fast as possible before security arrives. And that's exactly what they were able to accomplish, because you didn't put security in place to prevent exactly that from happening. The next big issue here is that the security guards responded to the alarm and intercepted the bad guys. The bad guys threatened them, and then the security ran away, which means that your security guards are there for security theater alone. So if 4 people approach your security guards with crowbars and axle grinders, you will run away, which means that you literally do not have the tools or the capabilities to protect this from basic criminals. We're not talking about, the movie Heist where they're coming in with automatic weapons. We're saying, no, you had a crowbar and a hammer, a chisel, and an axle grinder, and you can't protect it, which means that you don't have the tools needed to actually protect this really valuable stuff. If you don't want to give your security guards guns because of legal reasons or because it's Europe and you just can't get guns, okay, fine. But then you have to ask the question, how long does it take for bad guys to use axle grinders to get into the jewelry cases and steal stuff, and then compare that to what is the police response time? Because according to this exact instance, the time that it takes to get into the building, steal a bunch of stuff, and get out is between 4 and 8 minutes, which means that your police response time had better be significantly less than that. And I don't know of a police response time anywhere on Earth that is less than 4 minutes. All right, now let's talk about who's actually in charge of security at the Louvre, which is a woman by the name of Dominique Buffon. She was appointed head of security in September of last year, so about a year she's been on the job. And unfortunately, if you read the article that she posted on LinkedIn, or shared on LinkedIn, it says that over the past 6 months as managing director, she had an accelerated apprenticeship in the Louvre with her predecessor, meaning that her appointment to the head of security was not exactly what it should have been. It was an accelerated program. Now, we don't really know what that means exactly, but it definitely doesn't look good that your director of security is appointed to the position, and then in less than 1 year, you have one of the biggest heists in the location's history. Okay, to wrap this up, when you are looking at security of your own building or your own facility or whatever, you need to look at it through the lens of an attacker. Why would bad guys be trying to get in, and what would they be trying to accomplish if they did? Then, once you understand what the motivation is, you can start to look at this through the lens of how would I defend it if an attacker actually got inside. And the best way to go about that is not to ask the defense, because the defense's answer to this will almost always be more money. More guys, more fences, more alarms, more cameras. And the problem is that you can't solve problems like this just with money. Having broken into some of the most secure places on Earth, I can tell you that you will never spend enough money to solve these problems. It will come through a working together of the defense and the offensive side of security. And in this particular instance, there doesn't seem to have ever been an offensive side to security, because something as simple as, hey, a second-story window being broken into and 2 guys threatening our security staff with axle grinders is enough to have them run away and they can be in and out of the building in under 10 minutes. That was obviously never considered. But that would be one of the first things that you would consider from an offensive security standpoint of, hey, what if I use a ladder to go in through this window and don't go in through the funnel of the front door? That's so painfully obvious, it almost causes physical pain. But this is the problem, right? So whenever you see questions like this, or whenever you see stories like this, just ask the question, did you ever test it? Did you ever test your security? Yeah, sure, you had all the compliance stuff. Yeah, you had all the bells and whistles, but did you ever actually test it?